my brother. You're welcome to this our
Yeah,
exciting program.
thank you very much for having me.
Yes,
It's an honor to be here.
yes.
My name is Opala Chidiken George.
Okay.
I am the founder, the owner, and CEO of Delgado Dogs.
Delgado
Yeah,
Dogs. Yeah, yeah. You're welcome.
thank you.
You've been in this industry for a long time. So how has it been in this industry, this dog industry?
First of all, it has been God because you know
everybody,
how the business
everybody will
is.
say dog is God.
Yes, yes. There are ups and downs, but
Yes,
there are
exactly.
also very good days too.
Mm,
So I think the number one thing about the business is to have a passion, a burning passion for it.
okay.
So even on the days that are
The
kind
bad
of the
days.
bad days, you still have that motivation and drive,
Yeah.
which will keep pushing you forward.
Okay. So what really inspired you to go into breeding?
Okay, what really inspired me? I've always had this enthusiasm for dogs since my childhood.
Mm.
I think I was born like that. Like I just had that
It's
love for dogs.
inbuilt.
Inbuilt, yeah.
Mm.
But when it comes to the business aspect, I remember when I was in GS1, I
Mm.
told my mom that if she doesn't get me a dog for my birthday, that she should not get me anything. I was trying to do that emotional blackmail. So
As a child.
she ended up getting the dog.
As a child, yeah.
But what really gave me
What
that,
can I stop you? What breed was that
that was
then?
the German Shepherd.
German
The
Shepherd.
German Shepherd,
The
yeah.
German Shepherd. Yeah. That's almost everybody's
First
first
breed,
love.
yeah. So what really gave me that drive to the business part of it, there was a breeder, he's late now, RIP Sunday.
Mm.
He showed me the business aspect of dog breeding at that very young age.
Wow.
So yeah, I've started making few peanuts
Yes, from
at
there.
that stage. So I already knew that okay, you can use this thing to make money.
Yeah, to earn a
So
living. Yeah.
yeah, so as at then I was still seeing small change from it. But like it wasn't until I graduated that I now fully focused on
On
breeding. And I
breeding.
tried to
Your
brand
full
it as
time, yeah.
as
As a
an
full
educated
business, yeah.
person.
Okay. That's very, very good. On your early stage, how did you, because we are talking about nutrition, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, on our dogs. Your early stage, how did you see the nutritional value important on your early stage? Like when you started this breeding of a thing,
Okay.
how did you see it as an important thing or an important measure you need to take as a young or upcoming breeder?
Okay, at my early stage, that was when I got that
Mm.
German Shepherd. Then I wasn't as educated and conscious as I am at the
Now,
moment about the importance of diet
yeah,
when
yeah.
it comes to breeding. So at that then I was more focused with just feeding the dog, feeding the dog, feeding the dog. And it had a lot of disadvantages, but still gave me the chance to learn.
Okay.
So after that dog, I had another dog, I had other dogs, but the experience with that dog gave me a wide knowledge of how to feed the dog.
Okay.
I actually had to go and research it.
Okay. Now, coming up, you've seen different litters. You've seen people having different litters.
Yeah.
So, how do you see, or when you see the litter coming up, for instance, you have two different litters.
Okay.
How can you say, okay, these ones were being fed good and this one were not fed well?
Okay.
And what is the difference you can tell?
Okay.
For instance, let me just put it for you. A puppy, they say a puppy that is fed with royal canin, with a puppy that is fed with the indomie or noodles is, some people say it's different. So does it really matter in heat?
It matters a lot. It actually matters a lot because the puppy stage is like the early stage of formation, and if as a breeder you don't give the dogs the required nutrients at that stage, they don't develop as good as they should. A lot of breeders want to see the optimum physique, the optimum structure, and the optimum size of their dog, but they don't get to see that optimum standard of that breed because they neglect the importance of feeding and dieting. Why? Probably they don't have enough money. Probably they just neglect the knowledge of it. So that puppy stage, in fact, when it comes to feeding a dog, breeders should take to consider that healthy feeding from when the mother is on heat.
On heat.
Yes.
So the whole feeding and everything should be started when the mother is on heat. Okay.
When it's on
Is
heat,
it that you need to change the diet when the mother is on heat?
you have to just know what your dog likes, what your dogs like.
Okay.
If you have dogs that like kibbles, that's the dry food, and canned foods, you have to know. You have dogs that like supplements. You just have to know how to apportion it for them in a way that is balanced.
Okay. Dry food and raw food. What's your take in it? Do you want it? Do you think raw food should be placed separately on particular days, or kibble should be placed on some particular days, or together? What do you think about it?
Honestly, it depends on the pocket of the breeder.
The breeder.
Yeah, some people can afford that, and if you can afford that, definitely you should go ahead with it. There are a lot of advantages of raw food.
Raw, okay.
And it also has some disadvantages too. Even the dry food too has some advantages and some disadvantages. The raw food, the misconception and mistakes breeders in Nigeria that I've witnessed have about the raw food. A breeder can just maybe get fetus for their dog. You know fetus now, the
Fetus,
baby, yeah.
okay. Many people don't know what is fetus.
Yeah,
Can you please
fetus is the baby
about
like
fetus? What's fetus?
When a cow or a goat has a miscarriage, that baby cow or
that infant, cow or a cattle
or a cattle or goat.
Yes, cow.
So people in the dog industry, people tend to use that
to
feed their. It's not appropriate for human consumption, but it's appropriate for dogs.
Is it good for dogs?
Yeah, that's where I'm heading. So a lot of people now in Nigeria have the misconception of using that fetus to feed their dog as a regular meal. So when it comes to the raw food, okay, they are called BARF, that's BAF. BAF, okay. Biologically accepted raw foods. So to be called that, it has to be balanced. Some people tend to give dogs that fetus as a regular feed, which is not appropriate and leads to a lot of health issues because it's not balanced. For dog food to be termed as a biologically appropriate raw food, it has to have at least 70% muscle meat, 10% bones, raw bones, 10% organs, and 10% vitamins. So
that's a lot, though.
Yeah. So
can Nigerians afford it?
That's the thing. That's the thing. If you study the Americans, the Oyibos,
yes,
when they give their dogs that,
I know some people they put yogurt.
They put a lot of things. You can see vegetables on it. You can see egg. You can see fish.
Potatoes. I've seen a video on TikTok where somebody puts a chick, like a day-old chick, fresh. Yeah, day-old inside and give the dog.
And them, they would have their reason for doing that. Yeah. And don't worry, they know what they are doing.
Wow.
That is BAF. Wow. So like the point of that BAF is to give the dog that ancestral linkage of consuming food.
Yeah, this is just to let them know, okay, they are not just domesticated like that.
Exactly.
They are not. Okay, that's very, very good. Okay, like I said, everybody have their own experience. What do you think first-time owners? You just said something about the fetus.
Okay.
Now, that you said people tend to feed their dogs raw, which is not even balanced like that. First-time owners, what do you think is their major mistakes they carry on in terms of feeding and dieting with their puppies?
Okay. A lot of first-time owners make the mistake of giving their dog any particular dog food or any particular food they feel the dog can eat immediately after purchasing that dog from a breeder. They don't put into consideration the food that the dog has been eating or the food that the dog is used to. And just switching that food
can cause
a lot of health damages.
Like what?
It can cause constipation for the dog. Some dogs, their immune system may not even be able to carry that particular food. So first-time dog owners should ensure that they ask the breeders what particular food, what diet has the dog been on, and
Mm,
what diet can I give my dog to make the
mm.
dog bigger, to supplement its health. So that's one mistake I know first time dog owners make.
They do, okay.
Another mistake they make, you can say first time dog owner overfeeding the dog. Why? Because there's a lot of misconception that um, the more you give your dog food, the bigger it gets. And it really doesn't happen like that.
uh,
Um, you might end up giving the dog food, the dog might just get obese.
obese and
And
obese is a big issue.
it's a very big issue. It causes heart problems, it causes a whole lot of issues. It causes lower what's it called?
Cholesterol.
Litter rates.
Yeah, okay.
Lower litter rates.
So, what's your take on supplements?
Okay.
Because when you go to a pet store, you see supplements, you see Vitapet, you see Vetzyme. Do you think these supplements are important in every puppy stage, or do you just think it's just there for like show off?
Supplements are important. Supplements are important. The
Mm,
same way human beings take supplements, and when taking the supplements, feel the importance of going to the store and actually going to buy it. That's the same way it's important in dogs.
okay,
Um, Multivitamins. The main purpose is building your dog's immune system to resist a lot of things, to resist some viruses, just to make sure the dog is very healthy, active. So all the supplements play a very big role.
big role. Okay, I know definitely since you're good with the nutritional value and dieting in dogs,
Okay.
you must have heard a lot of myths
Yeah.
in it. So, what is that meant you're always hearing about food itself or any food? I know I've heard
There are
one.
lots of myths. There's the
Okay.
myth of giving your dog too many food and it will get bigger and bigger. That's one. There's the myth of giving your dog raw meat and it gets aggressive. That's another major myth.
I remember hearing the stuff like that when I was still young. If you feed your dog that you see blood there, the dog see any man, you just
So
you
that's
just attack the man. So next time, please, viewers, you can actually feed your dogs with raw feed. It doesn't have any effect with the aggression or
doesn't have
anything.
no effect.
Your aggression is placed down to genetics. If the
Yeah,
parents are
genetics
aggressive,
and training.
if the parents are aggressive, definitely that dog will be aggressive. If the parents are dull, that dog will be dull. So please take notes. Don't mix it up. Okay. Uh, this your dieting and everything.
Okay.
Does it contribute with the energy
Yes.
with these dogs?
Um,
Does it bring muscles? Does it bring, is it does exercise bring the muscles? Or is it the feed? Or is it genetics? Or does it, just try to explain this part for me.
when it comes to feeding your dog, you have to know how to make it balanced.
Yeah.
Um, Feeding your dogs, you can feed a dog a particular amount of food, and without proper exercise, the dog will
Mm-hmm.
not come out
Mm,
well. So that exercise also plays a very big role in how your dog appears. Um, but when it comes to feeding your dog,
mm.
you have to be very cautious of doing it the right way and doing it in the right way that it's balanced for the dog.
Okay.
Because as a breeder, especially in Nigeria, um, you are trying to sell an image.
Mm,
You're trying to get referrals. You're trying to build a brand that
mm,
speaks for itself.
mm,
And the first stage to even building that brand is proper feeding.
mm.
Aside you just getting a good dog, a very quality dog, if you do not properly feed the dog, it will not come out to the way it's supposed to be. And that will affect your pricing, that will affect a whole lot.
Mhm. Now,
Okay.
coming to that marketing part,
Okay.
what do you think about feeding does feeding really affect the market price of a puppy?
Definitely.
Does it affect it? Does it make, like, for instance, let me just use this.
Okay.
A German Shepherd that is fed with Royal Canin with a German Shepherd that is fed with noodles.
Okay.
Do you think those puppies will cost the same? If, take notes, if they are imported,
Okay.
both parents are imported, and you're feeding this with a Royal Canin, and you're feeding this, I'm talking about the business part,
Okay.
and you're feeding this with noodles, do you think those puppies will come out well? Or do you think the sales of those puppies will be the same thing? What's your take on that?
The thing is, in breeding, there is a standard price for every dog breed.
Okay.
But at the same time, that standard price is really not known by the customers. It's known by the dog breeders. So within breeders, between every breeder in Nigeria, they know the particular price a dog goes for. But the
Okay.
customers don't know. And the purpose of every business is to make profit.
Definitely.
So if you're selling to a breeder, the breeder might still price you for that particular standard price. But when you're selling to a customer, the customer wants to see what he wants to buy. He wants something that fits his image. So if you're bringing a dog that is not healthy or a dog that isn't fed the right way, it will definitely show. So when the dog is, for example, if you are feeding your dog with royal kennel and supplements, definitely to show on the dog's side, to show on the stature, to show on the coat, to have a shiny coat.
Yeah.
But when you are feeding with probably Indomie, I'm not saying the Indomie is bad because a lot of people can't afford the other ones. Yeah, but they have to know how to apportion it. They have to know how to, okay, I'll give the dog Indomie today. Even if it's to give it rice the next day with meat or with fish. You just have to know how to make that in balance for the dog, not consecutively giving the dog that.
You said something now. I'm going to take this from the last one you said. So what is your feeding strategy in the business? No matter how, like you said you have to feed and mix profits because it's the business part out of it. So how do you strategize the feeding in the business? At least you can't expect me I'm feeding more, what I'm putting in is more than what I'm making. For instance, somebody is feeding you have Eskimos and you're feeding with rare Kenny. I'm not sure that person will be making profit. I'm not sure the person will be making profit. So what are your feeding strategy? How do you do it? Is it how do you do it, and how will I make profit? For instance, I have Eskimos. I want them to come out top notch. So how do I do it?
So this is what you do in a case like that.
Okay.
If you want to make profit as a breeder and you want to also balance the way you feed your dog with the sole aim of still making that profit. First of all, you have to actually know your pocket. What you have to take note of the breed, the exact breed that you are breeding.
As a civil servant.
As a civil servant, cut your coat according to your size. Don't go and start buying royal kennel for your dog when what you can afford is Indomie. I'm calling a spade a spade. At the same time, find a way to make that Indomie balanced. There are ways to make Indomie as bad as it sounds. There are ways to make it balanced for a dog. If you're cooking Indomie and you even get maybe a Titus fish and you are mixing it with the Indomie, you will see the dog will be very excited to even eat that Indomie. You understand? Some dogs might even prefer eating that Indomie to the dry food just because of you mixed it with something. You mixed it with fish, canned food, or just find a way to balance it. Because if you are a civil servant earning so amount and you're going to go and start buying 70,000 and you're going to go and start buying royal kennel
and you're breeding Eskimo.
And you're breeding Eskimo. How do you want to make the profit? You understand? So you just have to find a way to balance it. Find a way to make sure that, and this is the thing, as the sole aim of every business is to make profit. Any profit you see in your dog business, you have to apportion it to this feeding, this marketing, this. You understand?
Yes. Okay. And again, what about behaviors? In dogs. They tend to avoid.
A lot of breeders don't take into consideration the importance of water. So some breeders don't even give their dog enough water. And that water is very important.
Essential.
To any human or animal or any living thing. So some breeders don't take the consideration of water. So some breeders give their dog food in a quantity that the dog might not finish. And that quantity will just stay from morning to night. You understand?
That's a very, very important question I want to ask. How often do you think they should change the water?
Personally, as a breather, just change it every day at least. Some people can
Is
leave
it
water.
every day? Is it morning and night? Morning you use. I've heard. I was on TikTok one very time, and a breeder, a well-known breeder online on TikTok. I'm very, very active on TikTok. He said he changes his water morning. He changed what morning on, puts afternoon on, puts night on. You understand? Changes this like 3 times a day. But I'm not saying. Is it just? So let me just use this modern word, capping. Is it capping, or is it just that it is? Is it very, very important?
It's important to make sure that the dog is hydrated.
Okay.
And it's also
But
important
what
to
if
make
you
sure
use one water for the whole day? Is it okay?
it's okay as far as the water is clean.
Okay.
Because everything is different strokes, different folks. You understand?
Okay.
So as far as you have clean water for your dog,
Okay.
for that day, it's very good.
Okay, that's very
But make sure the next day you change it.
perfect. Perfect. Thank you for coming to our show.
You're welcome.
We really, really appreciate. Can you please give out a shout out to your people?
Okay.
Outside?
First of all, I want to give a big shout out to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I think that's the main reason why in this whole economy of people stopping the business and people having bad times. I think that's the main reason why I'm still standing. So I also want to give a big shout out to my clients, my customers, and my family. So Delgado Kennel, Delgado Dogs, who are always at your service and will continue to give you the optimum best.